Hello and welcome to INE's CCI Collaboration version 3 Learning Path. Today in this video we will learn how endpoints registered to call manager can join the meeting in a different way, not by round-the-wall conferencing, but maybe by dialing in to an IVR. So basically what's going to happen is we have users registered to the call manager. They would dial a specific number, which would be the IVR number on the CMS. And the CMS would invoke the bridge, and users can dial that and join anybody's space. For example, let's say if HQ1 wants to join Bruce Banner's meeting, right? Meeting space. So he dials the IVR. And at the IVR, the CMS is going to prompt him to put the call ID of Bruce Banner. And once he puts the call ID of Bruce Banner, he basically joins Bruce Banner's meeting space. So just different ways of actually doing it. So I could do a rendezvous conferencing to join like a meeting space. Again, the rendezvous conferencing was to a specific space, right? We had created a space and then we had an incoming calling rule for that. So I could do that, or I could do an ad hoc, or I could directly log into my WebRTC or the meeting app. And in the meeting app, I could go and click on the meet button and search for a user and join his space. Just different ways of doing it. But think about from an endpoint perspective. An endpoint registered to call manager. For him, how does he log into a meeting? So either he needs to have a Cisco meeting app. So basically his user should be there on the CMS for him to log in to CMA. That's the prerequisite. Or if he's doing WebRTC again for WebRTC, I need a user to be present in the CMS, right? But what if I have a user, let's say HQ1, HQ1 does not exist on the CMS database. Let me in fact show you that. So if I look at the CMS GUI, right now on the CMS, I have just 3 people. I have only 3 users imported from LLab. So if I look at status users, I have Bruce Banner, Flash, and Tony, which means Bruce can log in via Cisco Meeting app or WebRTC if WebBridge is enabled. Flash can log in and Tony Stark can log in. But what about HQ1? HQ1 does not exist. So if HQ1 needs to join Bruce Banner's meeting space, he cannot log in via WebRTC and join the meeting. He cannot do CMA. He cannot just log into the meeting app because the user doesn't exist. So the only way for him to join the meeting space is if he does rendezvous conferencing and he dials 9999, which was the number that we created in the earlier video. He dials that, and even Bruce dials 9999, and they both join in that meeting space. That's the only way. But what if Bruce says, hey HQ, come and join my meeting space? HQ1 cannot join because he doesn't have the meeting app or he doesn't have WebRTC. He cannot log in. So how would he join Bruce's space? He cannot. Ad hoc was completely different. It was just to add another user in a call. So basically having a 3-way call between people. But the problem for the endpoint to join a specific meeting space of a specific user was not possible. That's where the IVR comes in, where endpoints registered to the call manager would dial a specific IVR number and the CMS gets invoked and the CMS would ask you for the call ID. Enter the call ID of the person that you want to join the meeting for. And you enter the call ID of Bruce Banner and you reach Bruce Banner's meeting space. Let's try this out. Now, obviously, from a prerequisite perspective, the list of things that you need to configure this would be, obviously you do require the call bridge, the XMPP, the call bridge XMPP integration, the web admin to 445 and the web bridge on 443. All that should be done. Besides that, you should have a SIP trunk on the call manager that points to CMS. And I believe that's the only list of things that you would need. We should still activate IVR on the CMS, which is disabled by default. So for achieving this, what you would do is go to Configuration, General, and here at the bottom, you would see there's an IVR number. Just put, let's say, 8888 and submit. So now my CMS will respond on 8888. So if somebody dials in 8888, it should invoke the IVR prompts. Let's now go to the call manager. On the call manager, all I need is a SIP trunk to the CMS, which is already there from the previous video when we had created the SIP trunk to the call manager when we did rendezvous conferencing. So the SIP trunk already exists. All I need is a route pattern which says for endpoints to dial 8888, take it to the CMS. So that's all I need. Let me quickly check. So I have my CMS SIP trunk, and let's go and create a route pattern. And this route pattern would be 8888. My endpoint should have access to the partition or the CSS. Let's create one. So 8888, which goes to the CMS SIP trunk. So if you see, if the end user or the endpoint, if he dials 9999, it would go through the SIP trunk to the CMS, and the space which we created for rendezvous conferencing would get invoked, which was for 9999. Or if the endpoint dials not 9999, he dials the URI 9999 at hq-cms.ini.com. Even then, the rendezvous conferencing would get invoked. But he lands into a common space, right, where everybody comes in there. But if he wants to go to Bruce's space, he has to use the IVR. So now if you look at Bruce's space, his call ID is 2002. So I'm going to go back. I have a route pattern here. Let's go to one of my machine, and here I will dial 8888. And let's go to Bruce's machine also, and let him log in via Cisco meeting app. So he can log in because he is a user on the CMS. So for him, it's not an issue. He could log in to the Cisco meeting app, and but HQ1 cannot log in. For him to log in, he has to go to the IVR to join Bruce's meeting space. So let's go back. And let's go to HQ1 and dial 8888.
Welcome to a Cisco meeting. Please enter the call ID followed by the pound key.
As you can see, I hear the IVR which asks me to enter the call ID. So 2002 pound.
You are entering the meeting now.
So now
you are the only participant.
So now he's in the meeting space of Bruce. And for Bruce to join his own meeting space, he also has to dial. So he could do it from the meeting app. Maybe he dials 8888 and he joins that space, and he should see HQ1's video, and they both are using the meeting room or the meeting space of Bruce Banner. It's again taking a bit of time because of the resources on the machine, but we could dial this even from Jabber. So Bruce could just dial again 8888 and join and put the same call ID, his own call ID, and he would be in the same call. Let's just wait for a few seconds before we try it with Jabber. All right, so let's dial 8888.
Enter the call ID followed by the pound.
So I dialed Bruce Banner's own call ID.
You are entering the meeting now.
And as you can see, they both see each other's video and they've joined the meeting room or the meeting space of Bruce Banner. So you see with the IVR, endpoints can dial in to users and to users' meeting room, meeting space, and have a meeting. I hope this video was informative to you, and thank you for watching.